forsaken booth. The truth is you sadly mistaken. Proof I'm better than.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we'll be talking about Smackdown, February 25th, 2022. The road to WrestleMania continues and the rematches also continue. Jesus H. Christ. But at least there are some things to talk about. Alright, so let's start it off with the Vince McMahon, Pat McAfee conversation that will take place on Thursday, March the 3rd, I remember correctly. That's going to be the date. Post Wrestling then announced there's going to be an angle shot at this thing, and it's more than likely going to be Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee in a WrestleMania program. And it's got the internet all abuzz because Vince McMahon is over the age of 75. It's almost like these people don't follow the product. Clearly, Vince McMahon, who doesn't even want to be on TV, is not about to wrestle Pat McAfee. It will not occur. What will happen is maybe Pat McAfee will ask him a still silly question or a stupid question, and Vince will cop an attitude. They'll shoot the angle, but more than likely when it comes to working the match, it will be Austin Theory. So you can pretty much guess it's going to be Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee at WrestleMania. That would make 3 celebrity matches at WrestleMania. Now, I have a problem. All right. Having 1 celebrity match, okay. 2 celebrity matches because you have 2 nights. All right. How many damn small celebrity matches are we going to have? Because you have so many other people on the roster that are good and talented and been there all year. And now you can't find a spot for them. And I'm not even talking about the lower card guys. I'm talking about some of your top level performers. And then the stuff that you have them doing is absolutely stupid. We're going to talk about some of that stuff here in a minute. But think about some of the top talent that they have that they're utilizing in the weirdest possible ways, or in some ways not featured at all. And their idea is to bring in celebrities to wrestle matches. Look, I'm okay with celebrities, but we have to do this stuff in moderation. We just can't have an abundance of celebrities. And I know Pat McAfee technically works there and has had a match before, but Pat McAfee is not a wrestler. All right. This is going to be essentially a celebrity match because Pat McAfee has such a big following on his show. And he essentially crashed the internet when he did the Brock Lesnar interview. Now, hopefully, we actually get a fun interview with him and Vince. It ought to be fun as hell anyway. I wonder how scripted it will be, considering Pat works there. If I thought they were doing a genuine interview, I would be a lot more excited about this. Vince, every time he does anything that has to do with public speaking, what ends up happening is he get quote mined to death. These people will find some way of quote mining Vince McMahon and trying to ruin everything he ever said. Remember that time he said something in a conference call and they had taken it completely out of context about AEW not being competition or something like that. That's the kind of thing I expect to occur on this. When I first saw it, was the first thing that I expected to occur. I thought, okay, Vince is about to go out there and pitch WrestleMania. You know, he's going to go out there and, you know, WrestleMania is it's going to be stupendous. God damn it, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great show, and I'm so happy to have you a part of it, Pat. You are stupendous yourself. Or something like that, you know. But then I was like, okay, it is a prime opportunity to shoot an angle, and post-wrestling might be correct. Maybe they're going to shoot an angle. And shooting an angle is perfectly fine. I don't mind that. But, you know, Vince wrestling, he's not even going to be medically cleared to wrestle. He's 76. I don't think even in Texas, which is a pretty much do whatever you want state, I don't even think they can can turn a blind eye to an almost 80-year-old man in a high-profile wrestling match. Now, maybe they can't do anything about some podunk small-town show out in the sticks in the middle of nowhere that nobody knows occurred where, you know, a guy like Jerry Lawler, who is as old as Vince, could probably show up after having a heart attack and wrestle a match and be fine. Vince McMahon, they're not going to do it. All right, they're going to look at this guy and say, absolutely not. No way we're going to let you do this. But Austin Theory, hell yeah, they'll put him in there. Hell yeah, they put him in there. And guess what? It'll probably be fun. I don't even hate the match. I just don't like that there's so many celebrity matches. You could put celebrities in somebody's corner, you know, but so many celebrity matches comes across like the show is going to be a gimmick show. You know, it's just, it's too much. It's overkill. 1 is nice, 2 is fine, 3 is overkill. And I got a feeling they're not done. But I actually genuinely excited for this Pat McAfee Vince McMahon thing. It should be very interesting. All right. So title unification. WWE announced that the titles will be unified. There will be one literal WWE champion at the end of WrestleMania, apparently. And we'll see how long it lasts. So that will take us straight into the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar contract signing as I talk about this title unification idea. Do I think unifying the titles is a good idea? No. Do I think ending the brand split is a good idea? No. I don't think any of that stuff is a good idea because it's bad business. So do I think that stuff is going to occur? No. Now, what might occur is that you might have the two titles fused together for a short amount of time. Just like the women's title when they did the winner take all, and then eventually one of the belts got lost, and then everything just switches back the way that it was. 2 brands, 2 champions. So they may unify the titles temporarily, but they'll probably have one person running around with 2 belts for a short amount of time. That's the best we're going to be able to do. Now, a good reason to do this, if they're going to do it, is they're going to rebrand one of these belts. More than likely, they're going to end up rebranding the Universal title. Calling it something else for a while, probably the WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. They do this every couple of years. They fuse the belts together, then they separate them again, rebrand it, and then they go back to where it was. It makes no sense, but, you know, sometimes... Matter of fact, I take that back. Maybe sometimes it does make sense for the champions to finally meet and decide who is the champion of champions, who is the man, who is the guy, you know, who is the one, the champ above champs. And then once you have decided that, you know, they can unfuse the belts and then they usually rebrand one of them. The WWE Championship is eternal. There's nothing they can really do with that. Unless they do something silly like changing the name of it. Which would be so embarrassing. That would be destroying the entire lineage of the WWE Championship. So I don't think they're going to mess with that. That's why I think they'll probably end up rebranding the Universal title. From what to what? Will they have new belts? Hopefully they have a new belt. You know, all the titles need to be redesigned if we're being honest. So I don't think I think the title unification match will happen the way that they promoted it, but I don't think that the 2 belts are going to last fused for too long. I doubt it lasts a whole year with one champion on both brands. I don't see that happening. I just don't see it happening. I see maybe somebody they go back to the whole he signed an exclusive contract with Raw, so now SmackDown has to have another world title, and they're gonna do a whole new thing with it. You know, that's how I view it. So, the contract signing, Paul Heyman says this is the biggest match in history. This is bigger than Andre and Hogan, bigger than Rock and Austin. And they brought security so that Brock can be protected from his tribal chief. Brock comes out there, calls the security guard skid marks and says the only thing stopping me from jumping over this table and tearing y'all apart is me. And this contract. He wants this contract signed. So Roman gets all pissy after Paul says, "Oh, you're going to lose the title at Madison Square Garden." And Brock is like, "Nope, that's not going to happen." Roman gets pissy, jumps up, says that you don't know this, but that title is mine. That's my title. I'm going to smash you and take it. Then he starts talking about, "You see this cameraman? This is my cameraman." He goes outside the ring and said, "All of these people, they come to see me. These two," talking about McAfee and Cole, "they work for me. That sign, that belongs to me. All of this is about me." Like, he just flew off the handle like out of nowhere, which obviously was a great setup as they tried to attack Brock with the security guards, right? It was just a reason for Roman to leave the ring, so he was, yelling and pointing and everything, and it was just an excuse for him to exit the ring so that everybody can converge on Brock. So, of course, Brock just decides to start eating up security guards as they tried to attack him, and he beat the tar out of those guys, and that's how the show goes off the air. It was okay. I'm kind of over contract signings though. If I never see another contract signing in my life, I would not be upset about it at all. It's not like I'm going to say to myself, how is we ever going to have this match? Have the contracts ever been signed? How could this match happen? Have the contracts been signed? It's like, do you need to have a contract signing for every match? Isn't that technically how fighting works? You got to have a contract for every match. So why doesn't every match have a contract signing? Because every match ain't something that important, apparently. It's a silly segment. We need to let it go. This is one time where, dusty old wrestling tropes kind of need to either be used sparingly or they need to be left in the wind. Because there's entirely too many contract signings going on in wrestling these days. And I'm over it. Done with it. Tired of it. But Roman and Brock continues to be a somewhat solid story. Now we have to start chugging this joint along. They didn't mention they mentioned the Madison Square Garden show, but what they didn't mention was whether Bobby Lashley was going to be there or not. I was told he's out for 4 months, so he's not going to be there. So who are they going to pick as his opponent? We need to get that. And we also need to find out if that thing's going to be televised. I heard it wasn't going to be televised. After hearing about it, it was going to be a Saturday night's main event. I then heard, okay, well, it probably won't be televised. They're just hyping up the Garden show. I said to myself, that's silly. I wouldn't even mention a house show on TV. But whatever. It is what it is. Let's get into the actual show now. Michael Cole calls out Ronda Rousey, and he lays down Ronda Rousey's long resume as she finally gets some good fan reaction. She's smiling, which apparently is probably what Vince told her to do. And then she talks, and she is as dry as a chalkboard. She is dry as a chalkboard. Jesus Christ. Oh, Ronda Rousey, she doesn't even know how to... Where's the enthusiasm? There's just no enthusiasm at all, no energy, coming off of Ronda Rousey. She talked about... No, here's the question. The question is, why did you decide to come back? It's been a month already. It's been like 4 weeks already. And then she was like, I broke my hands. Then I broke my other hand. And then I got pregnant. So I sat down and I did the time. And I said about 4 months after I have this baby, it'll be time for me to come back. And that's what I did. And everybody's like, yay, Ronda. Head movement. Anyway, if you still haven't not seen that video yet, that Napoleon blown apart video, I'm telling you, you're not going to understand how bad Ronda Rousey's hands. I'm sure she broke her hands trying to throw a punch. But she said that's not why she came back though. So the reason she came back is she says that my mom won a judo tournament as a single mom, and she was also going to school, and she also did all of this stuff. She cured cancer while being a single mom, and I want to set the same example for my daughter. And all the fans like, yay, Ronda setting good example for her baby. Almost like she must have listened to Mark Henry too. Mark Henry told her to smile and mention her kids. So that's exactly what she did. Then Charlotte came out there, said that she gave Ronda a little bit of a hello, but took it easy on her due to the whole one arm tied behind her back gimmick. But said she's not going to take easy on her at WrestleMania, and that she's going to tap out Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was like, no, probably not going to occur. Sonya Deville then attacked Ronda with a chop block from behind. This was great. Then Charlotte slammed her leg against that ring post several times. They did a great job, the commentary team, screaming about Ronda's injured knee, which has been surgically repaired numerous times. So they're doing the similar to Brock's diverticulitis, where WWE kept going back to that, having Brock be thrown into the corners of tables or him getting punched in the stomach or something like that to play up the diverticulitis angle. They're kind of going to start doing the same thing to Ronda Rousey, apparently, which is smart. It's classically smart stuff. If a guy has a history of neck injuries, you work the neck. Guy if it has a history of knee injuries, you work the knee. Smart. But Ronda and Sonya Deville really kind of screwed over Ronda Rousey, beat the tar out of her. Notice her good friend Naomi didn't come out there and help her at all. Her good buddy Naomi didn't come out there and help her at all. Didn't do anything. Didn't do a damn thing. As a matter of fact, didn't do nothing. Okay. So Sonya Deville was very proud of herself as she stayed backstage and watched the replay. And Adam Pearce, he's finally seen enough. He's like, look, I don't know what's gotten into you, and where is your jacket? Like, you are completely out of uniform right now. So, because she continuously interferes in the performers' matches and segments, Adam Pearce went to upper management, whatever that means, even though we kind of know what that means. And they said Sonya Deville has to wrestle Ronda Rousey next week. And Sonya Deville was like, well, no. But it's happening. After which, Ronda Rousey cut another dry, boring, sandpaper promo when she was asked about wrestling Sonya Deville. She says, Sonya ambushed me and bullied my friend Naomi. Next week, I'm going to show her what happens when authority figures step out of line. And I was like, oh no, Ronda sucks. She sucks. She sucks so bad. She sucks so bad. She needs to, I don't know what happened to her. She was better than this before. She's legit terrible right now. She lacks so much personality. She is not a star. She comes across like a celebrity. Like she doesn't know how to be there. It's very weird. It's quite frankly some of the weirdest stuff in the world. Maybe she really doesn't want to be there. And I've seen some people say she looks like she doesn't want to be there. And I say, well, maybe that's the case. And after watching her performance here on this SmackDown, now she sold really well when she was selling. She was into that part of it. But she came across as being very weird on the microphone. Very awkward, very stilted. Not that the promo was scripted, but that she just lacked any energy. Just no energy whatsoever. And no color in her face either. Like, what is going on with Ronda? What's happening here? She fell the fuck off. Like, she was never that great. But she was obviously more intense and so much better before. She's just absolutely disgusting right now. It's a mess, and I can't stand it. All right, the first match on the show was a rematch. New Day defeating Los Lotharios because apparently they have to trade wins. I don't know. How are they feuding without promos against each other? Like, they're just having matches. They're not cutting promos on one another. It's not a game of one-upsmanship or anything like that. It's just four guys wrestling. It's like, ugh. The girl on the kiss cam for the Los Lotharios is apparently a wrestler and was on AEW Rampage tonight, too. I think her name was Kayla. Let me look at my notes for Rampage. Kayla Sparks. Very interesting choice. Kayla Sparks. Okay, cool. Whatever. New Day had an ATV because why not? Big E was a birthday gift from Kofi to Big E, apparently. Big E then threatened to run over Umberto with his ATV. This distracted Angel so they can hit the midnight hour on him and win. I was just like, I hope this is over. I prayed to the Almighty that this was going to be over. And then we went to Sheamus and New Day. As, oi, look at your fresh little ATV there. Oi, you're hot as a firecracker, aren't you? You two guys. I like you two guys. Look at me little hat. Look at me little jacket. You want to participate in your fight night, huh? You want to be at the fight night, huh? Then he said, beat him up for some reason. He just want to beat these guys up for no reason whatsoever. We get no forward momentum on the Sheamus, Ridge Holland argument, dispute, problem between the two of them. Just that they tease that Sheamus and Ridge will probably be fighting New Day next. So that means it's about a year. It's been 2 years since it's been about a year since Sheamus and Big E have had matches. They had a feud, remember? Pretty fun. It ended up in the parking lot match where they actually got a little bit of blood going. I remember that. That was pretty fun. So it's a good spot for Ridge Holland as a young guy. He's in there with former world champions. But this is an absolutely nothing feud that's not going anywhere, and they're not putting any steam on it whatsoever. And I don't see this lasting the entire time they get to WrestleMania. This is probably going to be something they're going to run into the ground 3 weeks in and waste everybody's time. All right, just for a little color, Rick Boogs and Nakamura are doing a Ford Tundra commercial where they go kayaking, because that's what Shinsuke Nakamura used to do in Japan. He used to live off the ocean and he would go kayaking. The two of them are going on adventures. And I say, you know what? This could be fun as hell. If they're just going to do random stuff like, Nakamura and Boogs, they're just going to pop up in weird places and do stuff in this Ford Tundra. All right. Now, I wouldn't get my ass in no little ass boat with another man. I wouldn't do that. I'm a homophobe. I wouldn't do that. I'm not getting in a little ass boat with a man. Not happening. We're not paddling with each other, okay? It's not happening. Not getting that little boat, all right? But Nakamura likes the boat. I mean, shit. It is what it is, man. He likes the boat. I'm cool with that. Boat his ass off. Sam Roberts showed up. I have no idea what he was doing there. I wish he wasn't there. He was talking to the Usos. The Usos didn't have nothing to say. They was just there to get beat up by the Viking Raiders, which is exactly what happened. If the Viking Raiders demand their championship match, which I thought was going to be on this show, but is instead pushed back to next week. And I was like, drat, what on earth is in store for us after we had that rematch? And then we get Xia Lee, the protector Xia Lee. Xia Lee cut a promo by saying she's been waiting for this her whole life. She's nervous but confident and been preparing for this since her days in NXT. Xia Lee will be wrestling Natalia, my favorite wrestler, Natalia. For some reason, Shayna Baszler, Drew Gulak, Mansoor, Aaliyah, and others were watching this on the screen backstage. I have no idea what the SmackDown version of the 24/7 crew is doing hanging around watching Xia Lee versus Natalia. Like, what's the big deal here? I know that Aaliyah at least was feuding with Natalia, but I don't know what Shayna Baszler is doing there. I have no idea what she's doing there. Xia Lee had a really cool entrance, and she won her first match with the spin kick. She looked good. She didn't blow me away, but she looked good. I liked her martial arts stuff that she does with the little scissor weapons that she had. It was pretty cool. It was different. She stands out. Her accent helps her stand out too, but she's very tiny. I will say this. Xia Lee debuted way before the Royal Rumble. I mean, she debuted in like December. Matter of fact, I think she might have debuted in November. She debuted a long time ago. This is her first match. And she has been on the roster for months. Can you try being that level of lost in the shuffle where you have had 6 to 8 weeks of vignettes, made a debut, and then disappeared. then reappeared out of nowhere, and then disappeared again. It's like, that's a level of lost in the shuffle that even somebody like Finn Balor has to be like, damn, at least I ain't disappearing for long memories. Well, shit, I can't even say that he disappeared too. Well, who was lost in the shuffle and not disappearing? Drew McIntyre, I guess. Because, you look at Finn Balor, I have to add him to the list now. Him and Xia Lee, they sparingly show up. It's like, oh, it's a special treat. Finn Balor is here. After not being here for 2 fucking months. Not even being invited to the Royal Rumble. He's here now. Xia Lee, same thing. She wasn't even in the Royal Rumble. Was she hurt? I know she was injured when they first called her up. This was way back when they first flipped NXT 2.0 over. They called her up, but she was injured because she had gotten hurt in the last match that she had. She got hurt against Mercedes Martinez. So she was out for a while and technically had been called up, but she wasn't doing anything. Then she started working some dark matches. They had her first vignettes. Her first vignettes were heel vignettes. Then they went away. Then they came back as these cartoonish babyface vignettes. There was like 4 weeks of that, maybe 5 weeks of that before her debut. And then there was nothing for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. This is her first match. She had to have debuted in like September at least. What on earth is going on here? It is the silliest thing in the world. This is silly. Even if you were interested in Xia Lee, you have to now try to remember everything that she did. The video packages, nobody remembers that anymore. Nobody even remembers that her first vignettes were heel vignettes. Nobody even remembers that anymore. If you thought that the comic book stuff that they were doing was cool, look at how long ago it was. You can't capitalize off that. The people have a memory of a hummingbird. This is pro wrestling. They're not paying attention to that shit. You have to play that shit all over again. You've let people forget about her. And that affected her crowd reaction. And it affected the crowd reaction in this match. Not saying that anything with Natalia in it would have gotten over. I ain't saying that. I'm not going to accuse Natalia of being over. I would never want to do that. But for Christ's sake, give them a chance. Shit. Why take them so far apart from anything? And just say, oh yeah, we're going to debut you in 6 weeks. It's like, what? We're not going to talk about you at all. Not going to show any more vignettes. Not going to do anything. We're just going to put you on the bench for 6 more fucking weeks. Ugh. Sad. Sad. If there's one thing I learned, is that Sami Zayn rules. Sami Zayn, very good. Sami Zayn is taking all his cues from Seth Rollins. He's looking at Seth Rollins just have so much fun on this program, dressing like an idiot, laughing all the time, being incredibly zany and silly and wacky. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do that too. So he put on a gold suit and he looks like his mom combed his hair finally. He even gelled it a little bit. And the comb over is what's killing me. How it's combed over to the side and then it's gelled only so far. So now it's fluffy in certain parts. I love it. It is fantastic. He looks like a little kid whose mom dressed him for Easter. Which is weird because I know he's a Muslim. But it's just hilarious look. Sami Zayn comes out there. He's dancing. Justice is finally served. He says that there was this massive conspiracy against him that took away his Intercontinental Championship. And after a year, he got it back, proving that he can overcome anything. He can overcome these massive conspiracies against him. And now he wants respect. Now he's back for respect. Says that he would give Shinsuke Nakamura a rematch. But since he destroyed Shinsuke Nakamura's knee, it won't be him. And said that he's willing to face anyone, anytime for the Intercontinental Championship. This leads to Johnny Knoxville making his triumphant return. Triumphant. And it was indeed triumphant. Johnny Knoxville laid down the challenge saying, hey, you willing to fight anybody? Sami Zayn first was like, look, you don't want to do this. You're wasting my time. Get out of here. And Johnny Knoxville was like, what you ain't got no balls? You ain't got the balls to wrestle me? And Sami Zayn was like, look, beat it. Just get lost, bruh. Get out of here. And he was trying to leave because he was being frustrated by Johnny Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville, of course, played to the crowd like, yeah, he didn't got any balls. And then Sami Zayn beat the tar out of Johnny Knoxville. 2 haluva kicks, a bunch of punches to the head. It was vicious. It looked good. Security ran down there to pull Sami Zayn off. It was nice. It was really nice. Later, Sami Zayn apologized to Adam Pearce, but says that essentially Johnny Knoxville really gets on his nerves. And said that now he needs to focus on doing other things. Ricochet appears out of nowhere and says that, oh, you said you wanted to be a fighting champion. Look, bruh, here I am. What about me? And Sami Zayn was like, oh, wait a minute. Hold up. And Adam Pearce made it official. Sami Zayn versus Ricochet for the Intercontinental Championship next week on SmackDown. I love the match. I think the match is great, but this is one of those times that really burns my ass because you've got Sami Zayn caught up, tied up, roped up, and with a celebrity, while you have a regular roster guy like Ricochet who could really use the WrestleMania stage to launch himself to a different level. Instead, we're going to give it to 50-year-old Johnny Knoxville. That's right, Johnny Knoxville is 50. By the time the match at WrestleMania will have occurred, Johnny Knoxville will be 51 years old. I know that these jackass dudes, they love their daredevils. They're modern day daredevils. But having your first match at 50 just sounds absolutely ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. We would have been better off. Now, you know how we could have made this work? Just a little fantasy booking. How we could have made this work. You could make this work if you put a wrestler in Johnny Knoxville's corner to train him, and they do vignettes and skits like the Shane and Vince vignettes, where Johnny Knoxville is trying to train like a wrestler, and it's really wearing him out. So maybe, I don't know if Ricochet would be the right guy, but somebody, if we had somebody, maybe a Drew McIntyre or something, who could say, oh, want to help you win the Intercontinental Championship. Going to teach you to do how I do it. And now, he's out there. I think they just did this with NXT, with Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez. They need to start, do those kinds of vignettes with Johnny Knoxville in order to make this thing work, in order to make it fun. They did it with Lawrence Taylor. When they had Lawrence Taylor had this personal problem with Bam Bam Bigelow, they had Diesel to be the one to train Lawrence Taylor. So when Lawrence Taylor won, it's because, Diesel, it was Diesel's training that helped them win. So that was good. That was decent storytelling. Here we just told Johnny Knoxville is going to go out here and fight Sami Zayn. He needs to have a trainer, a wrestler who's in his corner, who pushes him to do better and to do more. And preferably somebody who knows Sami Zayn and who can help him out. That way the story fleshes out a little bit more. But I don't hate the idea of Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn as much as everybody else. I just think that too many celebrity matches, which make the entire show feel like a gimmick. That's just how I feel. But I don't mind this. I think that Johnny Knoxville got great reaction. The WWE fan base seems to really be reacting to him well. And they seem to like his involvement in the show. I love the chemistry between Knoxville and Zane, so that's good. The storyline has been absolutely silly, but that's kind of what you want. But it's also been going on for a little while now. It was going on before the Royal Rumble. So it ought to be fun, at the very least. And I also think I think the match will be short. I don't think it's going to be like no long match either. So I'm okay with this. As far as Sami Zayn and Ricochet, they're starting the title run out strong. Ricochet is a good opponent. You can go out there and have a solid 10 to 15 minute match. Get over. and lose. You know, that simple. All right, so Sasha Banks returns. She gets all of her stuff announced as she's coming to the ring. She's a 6-time women's champion, 2-time women's tag team champion. And I was just kind of like, that's an interesting introduction for Sasha Banks to do what now? And she actually wrestled the match, and she wrestled against Shotzi. Shotzi, who had no entrance, has said that she's been working with a bad back, and her dad recently died. And she's thrown into this match just to lose to Sasha Banks. And she literally does lose in like 2 or 3 minutes. So something tells me this was just a test. I don't know if y'all remember, but it was not that long ago where both Zelina Vega and Toni Storm were essentially tested in this same way. Where Zelina Vega, I think she came back. She had no entrance. She had nothing. And she just did like a random job for, I forget who it was for. But it was just somebody. She was just in the match. She was just a body in the match to take the pinfall. Then they did it to Toni Storm with Zelina Vega when she won the Queen's Crown. They had Toni Storm in the ring. She didn't get an entrance or nothing. And she just got beat by Zelina Vega. And they both got pushes after that. That's why I mentioned this. So it might be a test to see if Shotzi was just going to go in there and be able to perform. And she went in there, she lost. She didn't really do much of anything. It was mostly a showcase for Sasha. And can we expect a Shotzi push later on? I personally like Shotzi. I'm a big fan of her. I think she has a very unique physical charisma and a very unique persona, very unique look too. There's just so many different ways you can go with it, as far as being WWE's version of Elvira or Vampirella or something like that. You can always go to horror route. She loves horror movies anyway. That's a great way you can go with it. You can always give her back the tank and the helmet and all that kind of stuff and go that way with it. There's just a lot of durability and a lot of versatility to the Shotzi presentation. And the company has dropped the ball. Now, a lot of it has been, injuries and her dad dying. But a lot of it also has just been nonsense booking. Because Shotzi has been on TV. Her and Tegan Knox were called up how long ago? Around the same time Xia Lee was called up, right? And Shotzi has probably had 4 TV matches, including some tag team matches since then. She's wrestled Charlotte. She's wrestled Sasha twice. And I think she maybe have had a couple of tag team matches. So maybe 5 or 6 matches. And she's been up on the main roster for a long time. A long time. It's ridiculous what they're doing. This is ridiculous. What is the point of introducing these people at no plan and nothing for them to, and then not having anything for them to do? This is ridiculous. And we got celebrities in fucking matches now. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get this. This is silly. This is what makes your roster so thin. It's not even that WWE doesn't have talent. It's that they don't know how to use talent. They don't know how to properly utilize their talent. They're leaning too heavily on the older talent, and they're leaning too heavily on the celebrities. Both of those are WrestleMania staples, however. So that was my whole point in bringing this up anyway, is that maybe after WrestleMania we can actually normalize this thing a little bit. But there's no telling, because there's no telling what the landscape is going to look like. With Ronda Rousey being the champion, I don't see Shotzi winning the title from Ronda. I don't see that happening. I don't see anybody beating Ronda for the belt. So I don't know. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow, but that's why we should have plans for people. Backup plans. Naomi was on commentary during this match for no apparent reason. And then afterwards, she announces that it's going to be Sasha and Naomi challenging for the women's tag team championships. So Carmella and Zelina versus Naomi and Sasha. Sasha. My lisp is killing me, right? It's embarrassing. All right. I think this will end up being a 4 corners match or something like that. It should probably make it a ladder match with like 4 teams or something. I don't see any need for it to be Sasha and Naomi versus Zelina and Carmella. I don't really see any need for it to only be those 4. There can be some other women involved. Now, I know they probably do want to have a women's battle royal, a WrestleMania women's battle royal. I can see them wanting to do that. Maybe that would be Rhea Ripley's big moment if she wins the women's battle royal or something like that. But that's not fun. It's really not. Like, that's a huge step back. She won the title last year at WrestleMania. And now she's going to win a battle royal. It's not even a branded battle royal. Like, at least you win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. You could say, I won the Andre, You won the women's battle royal. Like, yeah, I won the women's thing. I don't even remember who won the women's battle royals. Has anybody of note won a women's battle royal? I think Naomi won one time. I don't know who else won the women's battle royal. I know Naomi did. I don't remember anyone else. And to be quite honest, I don't remember who won the Andre anymore either. I know they did the Andre on TV last year, and Jey Uso won. But I don't remember who won the Andre the year before that. I remember who won the first one, which of course is Cesaro, who doesn't work there anymore. But they don't do a good job of really cashing in on these big victories anyway. That's why I think winning these big, quote-unquote, prestigious battle royals are very silly. But the idea of Naomi and Sasha as a tag team, it seems random. It feels random. But they were partners a long time ago. Tamina. I think they was called Team Bad. So Team Bad is just such a generic. It's a trash name. It really is. But if they're going to bring back the name, then it works. All right, it works. It's something for Naomi because she's been on fire lately, if we're being honest. She's been very good. The fans really like Naomi, and she's been having really good matches. And it's something she hasn't done yet. She's already been a women's champion. She hasn't been a women's tag team champion. And it's something for Sasha, too. Sasha has been a women's tag team champion twice with Bayley. But, this is something new. It's fresh opponents for Sasha. I don't think she's had I'm not sure she's had a lot of matches with Zelina or Carmella. I'm trying to remember, has she had a lot of matches with them? I don't think so. And I'm almost certain Naomi hasn't had that many matches with them. So it's somewhat fresh. But I do think you probably need to add more teams to it. For some reason, something just says to me, add more teams, And that's why I was kind of hoping that Lita would be involved. Again, I'm pushing hard for this Lita and Shotzi thing. Or Lita and Rhea. One of the two. I think Lita works with both of them. I think you could push her and Shotzi as a team. Or you could push her and Rhea as a team. But I think that you don't let Lita just sit at home for WrestleMania when you have open spots. I say you take it. Use her like AEW is using Sting. We know she's limited. She's botchy as all hell. But people are moving the needle for the name. There's going to be people who like Lita, even though she's 46 and looks like an old rug. Do it. Take advantage of these people. Take advantage of Lita's goodwill and her desire to be there. Utilize her as much as possible. I don't have a problem with that. But you have to utilize these people better. And don't let them go to waste. And I think that this tag team match is happening because Sasha is probably not going to be well enough to wrestle a singles match by herself for a while. The last thing on the show to discuss. Madcap Moss versus Drew McIntyre again. All of this is absolute booty butt cheeks. This is awful stuff. This is awful shit. Backstage, Happy Corbin is back there with Madcap Moss, and Madcap Moss is still selling his neck. Now he's talking about this is a WrestleMania caliber match between me and Drew McIntyre. And I'm going to make him suffer what he did to my pal Madcap. And Madcap Moss, who should be wearing a neck brace and a halo in order to really sell the neck injury. Like, that's one of the things that old Vince McMahon wouldn't have missed that, you know? Vince McMahon in like 1994, he wouldn't have missed an opportunity to completely and totally Bob Orton Jr. this shit, you know? You know how when Owen Hart injured his wrist and he was wearing that that damn cast for like 6 months? You know, or I think he might have had that joint on for like a year. If old Vince would have noticed it, probably could have Pat Patterson would have told him, Vince, it's a good idea, do it. But now there's nobody smart enough to understand that if you keep talking about Madcap Moss almost breaking his neck, put him in a fucking halo and a neck brace. How about that? And then, guess what? It would have made Corbin look like a bigger piece of shit for forcing Madcap to wrestle in a halo and a neck brace. He would have looked like an even bigger piece of shit. That's the visual that you're missing here. And nobody wants to see this match anyway. But, I mean, especially considering they already had the no disqualification match, there's nothing more to be had. There's no more blood in this turnip. You know? If you even got drops of blood out of this fucking turnip, there's no more. There's no reason to do this match again. Ever. But, if you were going to swerve everybody and promote one match and then switch to another, which again, I fucking hate. So that's another thing I hated is, oh, it's a WrestleMania caliber match. So it's like 5 different things in this shit that I hate. I hate Happy Corbin. I hate Madcap Moss, even though I think he's probably going to have a big future. I hate the fact that they didn't put, attention to detail and put him in a neck brace and a halo. So at least he can pretend that he'd been in the hospital for 6 days or something like that. I hate the fact that they baited and switched. They said it was going to be Happy Corbin and McIntyre, then they switched it. I hate the fact the match went longer than a minute. I hate all of this. This is trash. This is trash. All of this is garbage. I'm fucking sick to death of this guy, man. This Happy Corbin shit is absolutely fucking awful. This shit needs to be... Look, man. I can't not deal with this. Incinerate this shit, please. This shit got to go bye-bye, man. I can't stand it. Undefeated Happy Corbin. It's trash. Trash. Of course McIntyre wins. The same fucking match 100 times is going the same fucking way. It makes no sense. And there's no more entertainment to be had in this shit. This is the stupidest fucking shit on the show. Y'all complaining about, oh, Johnny Knoxville's wrestling for the Intercontinental title. I don't give a fuck about that. That's interesting. Fucking Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre is gonna make me go to fucking sleep. If I have to work the day of WrestleMania, I'll probably fall fucking asleep on that match. I swear to God. I'm gonna have to take a fucking pillow. That match fucking sucks. I just hope I have the day off. I don't even care what day. I hope they change their minds and have that shit on the SmackDown before WrestleMania. Or they bump that shit to the Raw afterwards. It's just, this is fucking stupid. And it's boring as fuck. Corbin is not fucking interesting. At least Moss is interesting. Corbin is the shits right now. He's absolutely the shits. He is the worst character on the show. He's awful. Madcap Moss, #1, terrible fucking gimmick. Good worker, great personality seemingly. Seems to be a dude that they really trust. They're actually utilizing him. They're teasing, in some ways, a breakup. Because, Madcap's going to feel a certain kind of way about, Corbin switching him into this match. But what is he going to do about it? Nothing. He's not no time soon. So, I can't deal with it. I don't want to talk about it no more. Fuck Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. And Drew McIntyre. It's all boring. It's all boring shit. This shit boring as fuck. That's the worst thing a wrestling show can be. Is make you apathetic. Make you just not care. I don't care about none of that. Alright. Like this video. Share this video. Subscribe to the channel. Donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.